Starting off, we're taking a look at the cover, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It just has the title, The Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary, Hyrule Historia. This book has been printed by Nintendo, and then it has the price down here, which is 3,255 Japanese yen. The American equivalent to that, seeing how the yen is a lot more powerful than the dollar now, I don't know. I'm just estimating maybe this might be around US $40 if this were sold in the United States. So that's a little bit steep, but I'm willing to pay that much. The one thing that I would like to mention about this book, which is something really special for Japan, is that a majority of books here, I want to say almost 80 to 90% of all books, are all soft cover books. Japan doesn't really do hardcover. And if they do hardcover, then that makes the price go up even more. But it's just, I don't know, it's just their nature for the printing press is print things small and soft. There's no reason for hard. Everything is trade size here, and people like to read it, carry it with them, and then once they're done with it, then they get rid of it. But I guess the publishing company, I guess Nintendo in this case, they knew something is especially special about the Legend of Zelda, and they seen need and saw fit to put this in hardcover, and I'm very thankful for that. This is a gold font print, kind of glossy. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is the title page again. It's black. It says The Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary, Hyrule Historia, and it says Complete Works in Japanese is what this says, Complete Works. And then you flip it to the next page, and this is The Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary Forward by Shigeru Miyamoto. And the forward is here. And then down here inside of this section, it says Shigeru Miyamoto's Hyrule History. This pretty much translates to his gameography and his roles for each one of the Legend of Zelda games and the years for those games that he did work on, which is pretty much he had his hand in all of them. Here's the table of contents. There's 3 main sections, which I'll get to as I get to that portion of the book. This black page here, which is the first major section that correlates to this on the table of contents page, this says beginning of the story, Skyward Sword. So this is starting at the very beginning of the series, and there's a whole big section that's dedicated to just Skyward Sword only, and that's going to be from page, I guess the next page is 6, all the way to page 67, I believe. So pretty much the next 50 pages or so is all about Skyward Sword. And then there's an introduction to Skyward Sword here with some of the artwork. And I'm slowly going to flip these pages so that you may have time to glance over it, or if you want, you could just pause the video and take as much time as you need. I'm trying to keep this as clear for you to see as possible. And of course, as always, I'm doing this video in high definition, 1080p. That way you can increase the size on your TV set or monitor and get a better look at what I'm showing you. Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary. Here we're looking at Princess Zelda concept art, and it looks like some turnarounds. These concepts are what the rendering artists use to the 3D artists use to render her. They need these to go off of first, these sketches. A bunch of facial animation and hair changes. Now I'm showing a bunch of characters from Skyward Sword. And that's pretty much what the next few pages are going to be. A bunch of characters, weapons, and even some locations. Once again, this is all coming from Skyward Sword. I know a lot of this is in Japanese, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You can look at the pictures and you could tell pretty much out of context what the kanji and hiragana is all about. It's nothing too special, so don't worry that I'm not reading this to you. You don't need to know what every single word says. But I will have a special link for you placed inside of this video. For those of you that do, out of just sheer craziness, want to know what every single word says, there's a lot of people that's on the internet, and I mean, they're real hardcore fans. They will find people to help them translate, and there are people that's working on trying to translate every single page now. And there's been a chunk of this book that's already been translated page by page into English from Japanese. And I'm going to provide a link for you to click on within the description of this video. And within this video, I'll show it to you. When you click on this link, it'll take you to a site that has some of the pages already translated. So that could keep me from telling you everything. You can go to this website at your leisure and take as long as you want to read everything in detail. But again, these translations are not fully complete. People are still working on it, and it might be some time before they complete the entire book. I think this book is around 250 pages or so, give or take. I will be splitting this video up into parts based on the categories. So after I'm done with this section on Skyward Sword, then when I start the next section for the Hyrule History, then that will be on video part 2. And nothing too special. You see the location layouts, character layouts, turnarounds, weapons, sketches. That's all it is. And they might have some 3D pictures on a few of the pages, but not a lot. Here we are, we made it to page 50, and we're getting near done with this section of the book. They are not going to release a separate art book for Skyward Sword since they included everything within this 25th anniversary book. It was kind of pointless and meaningless for Nintendo to release two books when they could just fit everything together into one book. If you understand what I'm saying. Alright, we're almost at the final page for this section on Skyward Sword. And that is it. Page 65. Okay, picking up with the next section of the book where we left off. On page 66, you can see a Legend of Zelda 25th anniversary collage. And this is a collage picture of all the links from all the Zelda games put into one painting. And then over here, the next main category section that we're going to take a look at, and this is the title page for that category and for that section, is called Hyrule History. So this is the much discussed and talked about Legend of Zelda Timeline that you've probably seen on game sites and all over the internet by now. And this section has been translated and is online for you to take a look at. On the left page here, page 68, this is the chronology of Hyrule, land, and the gods. And then on this page, they just talk about some small history about the Triforce and also about naming their hero Link. I'm not going to spend too much more time on this page. I'm going to jump right over to the timeline because this is the most discussed thing. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here, this main category is the Legend of the Gods and the Hero of Time. This section up here in gold. And then this is Heaven and Earth Created. So this is, let's first take a look at the eras. I'll do one thing at a time. The era of the world's creation, the era of the goddess Helia, the sky era, the era of chaos, the era of prosperity, the force era, and then finally the era of the hero of time, child era, adult era. And then let's take a look at the games. This is Skyward Sword, which is the beginning of the Zelda timeline. The Sacred Realm is sealed. Hyrule Kingdom is established. And here we have the Minish Cap. The god Vati is born. This game, 4 swords. Vati is resurrected. And then here we have the Hyrule Unification War. And this game is Ocarina of Time. And in Ocarina of Time, the Dark World is formed. The Sacred Realm, in the Sacred Realm, Ganondorf turns into the Demon King Ganon. And then the book is going to branch off into a few sections here. It's going to go this path if the hero is successful and then this left path as if the hero is defeated. So first we'll take a look at the defeated hero era. This is section in the gold here. In the bold white print inside the gold box, it says Hyrule's decline and the last hero. And this is the Sealing War. This game is a link to the past. Ganon is revived. Here is Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. Ganon is revived. Link's Awakening. The Triforce using Monarchy. The Tragedy of Princess Zelda 1. And then this game is The Legend of Zelda, the original NES version. Ganon is revived. And then The Adventure of Link. Ganon's revival prevented. And then there's some eras written here. This is the era of Light and Dark. The Gold Era. And then the era of Decline. Moving on to the next section. This is the Dark World and the Hero's Descendants. This game is Majora's Mask. The Prince of Thieves Ganondorf is executed. Moving right along. This game is Twilight Princess, the Shadow Invasion. Four Swords plus Hyrule Adventure. Ganondorf reincarnated. Vati resurrected. And then here says the Twilight Era and Shadow Era. Moving right along to the last section. Here Ganondorf sealed. The Hero of Wind and a New World. Ganondorf is revived. Hyrule is sealed and flooded. The first game is the Wind Waker. Ganondorf is revived. And then Phantom Hourglass. New continent discovered. Rebirth of Hyrule Kingdom. And Spirit Tracks. The evil king Malladus is revived. And that is it for the Legend of Zelda timeline. Continuing on with the next section. This is page 70, the page after the timeline. This is the Legend of the Gods and the Hero of Time. Page 71. Go ahead and skip over this. But I won't skip over this. Page 71 is about the ancient battle. And then page 72 is about Skyloft. And then page 73 is the Gears of Fate. And here they talk about the relationship between Hylia and Zelda. Alright. Try to get through this a little bit faster now. All of this is just the history going in chronological order of what I had showed you on the timeline. I don't have time to translate every little piece of this, so I just go ahead and show you the artwork that is featured on each page. But that's all you need to understand and know for the rest of this section and the duration of this video, is that this is all just timeline stuff. And this section is pretty long. I'm going to try to go through this a little bit faster. If you need to take time to see it, I get this video in high definition. You can pause it if you feel the need to. Now we're up to the NES Legend of Zelda. A lot of this is concept art. Not concept art, but art from the original Legend of Zelda. I remember seeing some of this stuff in Nintendo Power, if anybody remembers that magazine. The original Nintendo Power for the NES. Now we're moving on to some of the 64 games. That's interesting. There's a little tassel inside of this book where I could keep my place. This is the first time that I've seen this. I didn't know that was in here. This book is very, very good quality. The binding is good. The coat on the pages feel nice. The paper's a bit heavier stock quality paper. It's not really cheap and flimsy. This book feels really great. Alright, we are getting about done with this section. Just discussing the history. We're on page 130 now on the left. And that is it for this section. In this part, I will be adding closure to this book by taking a look at the final section, the final category of this art book. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to where we left off in video 2. There's a little green tassel here that lets me bookmark my location. So this is where we left off last time, was page 136. And here is showing some 25th anniversary goodies. I guess this is a point card for whatever the Wii store is called. Some Zelda 25th anniversary playing cards. And then this is the special anniversary 25th anniversary 3DS. This is a very nice looking handheld system. I don't own one of these yet, but I imagine if I was going to buy one, that I would definitely get this one. That's beautiful. That's so cool, man. And now we're getting ready to take a look at the final section of this book. We're going to look at some concept art from most all the games. And as I flip the page to 138 here, it starts off with the original Legend of Zelda artwork. And then there's some sketches for the enemy characters over here on the right hand page. Some color concepts. I remember seeing a lot of these pictures, I think either inside the manual as well as Nintendo Power, the magazine that came out around the time of this game in the United States. It featured a lot of the same artwork in magazine. And that was pretty nice looking at all that. The Legend of Zelda 2, concept art. Link on the left-hand page and Princess Zelda on the right. Ganon is also on the right. This thing sitting inside the middle of the book, it's not that important. It's just a UPC code and the price. And it says the title. It comes standard instead of all Japanese books. On the left hand page, these are some concepts for the Game Boy Legend of Zelda. You could see some dungeons inside of here, and yeah, it plays out pretty well on a storyboard like written paper. The next Legend of Zelda. Alright, feel the need to pause whenever you need to if you want to take a closer look at something. But I'm going to go through this final section pretty fast. So I'm going to try to keep this video under 15 minutes. But now we're just looking at concepts for the duration of this book. We'll get to some cooler stuff a bit later in the book. Even though this is the final section, there is a very brief category at the end. There's a comic book that reads Japanese style from right to left. And then also I think there may be something else that I'm forgetting about now, but once we get there you'll see it. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess concepts. Yeah, since the original Legend of Zelda game, you could tell that the concept art has gotten a lot more high class, so to speak, and a lot more detailed than what it was at Zelda's humble beginnings before it blew up into the sensation that it is today. Back then, whereas games were just games, now games are kind of presented as somewhat like a movie medium, movie-like medium. So everything has to be higher quality. The demand is there. People don't want what it was like in the yesteryears. Quite a big part of this book is dedicated to Skyward Sword. I almost want to say 30 to 35, maybe even 40% of this book is all Skyward Sword. I'm going to have to hold the pages down on the corners here to keep the pages from flipping themselves. Master Sword on the left-hand page. Level design concepts. here we are on page 228. You can see the concept for every single Link character from every single one of the Zelda games presented on 2 pages. And it has the year and the game title from which Zelda games each one of these Links came from. This is very cool, looking at all these Links side by side. The next page is going to be the Princess Zelda version of this. She got her span of 2 pages. Of course, in some of the more cartoonier like games, she has a similar appearance. And only in the 1986 game was she a brunette. And then Ganon only has 1 page, but unfortunately. But of course he was in a lot more games than this. They don't have his older Nintendo generation concepts inside of here, just from 1998 on up. Alright, here what we're looking at on page 233. This is showing the cover art in Japan, the United States, and sometimes even the EU for the covers for all the Zelda... getting tongue-tied there. The covers for all the Legend of Zelda games. The actual game cartridge cases. That's what I was trying to muffle out. And it's going in order with the original Legend of Zelda, and then the Adventure of Link, or the Legend of Zelda 2 is what they call it in Japan, and then the Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda. The Japanese Zelda games has Link on the cover of all of them, and it has some artwork, but I like the American covers better, which my friend Rajan disagrees with. He likes the Japanese covers better, but I like the American ones with the gold cases because everything is presented in sequence, and it's kind of kept together. It's kind of held together through the art. All the cases are gold. I thought that was really nice. And they keep this gold case all the way up until the Ocarina of Time game cartridge for 64. Yeah, the Game Boy Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Then we go on to the GameCube Wind Waker. 4 Swords for Game Boy, 4 Swords for GameCube. The Minish Cap, Twilight Princess. Phantom Hourglass. I can barely see up here. Spirit Tracks, Ocarina of Time 3D. And then this was a compilation disc that was released only in Japan. Alright, the next page, I guess, is a statement, or you can call it a closing of the book if you want. This is Eiji Aonuma's gameography down here, and his closing words, or just his statement rather. This has been translated and you can read this online. So at the back of the book, when you're completed on page 240, there's a title page which is usually printed always in the back of Japanese books. And it says this book was published by Shogakukan, which is a big publisher here in Japan. And that's this page. And then there's some extra content if you go to the very, very back of the book, but you have to start reading from right to left. There's a additional Zelda comic book, which starts off in color. And I don't know, this is maybe about 20 pages or so. Like I said, it starts off in color and then it's going to finish up in black and white. But it's not that long, just extra enjoyable content for the purchaser of this book. Well, I said 20 pages, but it seems like just a little bit more than that. Then we're here at the end and it returned us back to the title page again. And this is what the book looks like closed. It has the price and it has the title again and then a little band with the features written on it. And there you have it. Zelda 25th Anniversary, Hyrule Historia.